We are the heartbeat of Seattle.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. Today, I want to speak to you on a subject that's really touchy, and it's also a subject that a lot of people are up in arms over. My take on this is going to be a little different, so bear with me. I do not believe that we should defund or dismantle the police department. I think we should restructure the police department. I think we should take the police department as we know it, bring it down to ground zero, and shake out all of the kinks, get rid of all of the bugs, throw away all of the bad apples, and start fresh. Now, as of June 15th, Seattle, which is like various other cities that are calling for the same thing, it says here, after pouring money into the police budget, Seattle faces a new reckoning. As prospectors across the country demand sweeping changes to law enforcement, the Seattle Times examines what that future could look like and the hurdles ahead. They did a story on this. As the Seattle Police Department reckons with federal oversight in recent years, it sprouts a series of new civilian positions: a chief operating officer, a chief information officer, and a bevy of data analysts. The department has justified these and many other new positions as necessary to modernize the force, win community trust, and satisfy the terms of a 2012 settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice. A deal with the police union in late 2018 added measures on officer discipline and oversight while considerably raising wages. I personally think the police union needs to go. I don't see any point in having them, as I don't see any point in companies having unions now. I think they are just the mob taking advantage of everybody. I have personal reasons for that. My dad had a job which was union, and the union screwed my dad over really heavy. It says here, the revamping of the Seattle Police Department helps explain how its budget swelled by more than $100 million over the last 5 years, a 36% increase, even as the numbers of police officers barely budged. City spending on public safety, a broader measure that includes fire and other departments, has risen at a faster clip than almost any of the nation's largest cities throughout 2018. The city now faces a very different reckoning. After years of pouring money into the police training and accountability initiatives, city leaders face calls from protesters to dismantle SPD or cut its funding. That pressure is compounded by the coronavirus pandemic, which has created a vast hole in city budget. The demand of critics in daily demonstrations that began after the death of George Floyd last month in Minneapolis and while in police custody heightened the uncertainty over SPD's reforms. The department is still under the supervision of a federal judge. Now, its budget is the subject of an inquest by the Seattle City Council. Now, personally, I don't believe that the police department should be done away with. It needs help? Yes. I believe that you need to get the police on there that are not afraid to stand up to themselves. They're not afraid to stand up against cops that do bad stuff. Yep, you can make a mistake once. You might even be able to make a mistake twice. But when you make a mistake, like that officer that killed George Floyd, you make that mistake almost 20 times while you're on the force. Chances are you got to go. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more. And I'm saying that with all the respect of the police in my heart. But that respect can only go so far. When you put on a badge and you put on a uniform, you don't get respect. The badge doesn't give you respect. Your personal honor and your personal integrity gains you respect every day when you're out in the public. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and they will treat you the way they want to be treated. Now, there's some bad people out there. I'm not going to say there's not. There's some people out there that just don't give a shit. They don't care. They want to do what they want to do when they want to do it, and they will fight tooth and nail to get it done. That means even shooting somebody, robbing somebody, or hurting somebody in the process. Now, does that give the police department the right of way to just do it? No. You're not a Nike campaign. You ain't just supposed to do it. You're supposed to use good judgment. Proceed with caution. Stand up for yourselves. I get it. There's going to be some people that deserve to get put down because they walked right into it knowing that they're going to get shot. The police, they know they're going to get shot. That's just a given. That comes with the territory, because when you got people with guns that don't care, I'm talking about us Joe Public out here. When you've got people in us, the U.S., that don't care, that are willing to just shoot to be shooting, sometimes they give you no choice but to take them down. They are not trying to come in peacefully. They are trying to make you do them stop. They are trying to force you to make them stop. So, having said that, you have Sandra Bland. She was somebody that the police pulled over. That particular police officer took an administrative stop and turned it into a jurisdictional stop, which meant that he could take her to jail now. She threatened to sue the police department. When Monday came around, she threatened to sue the police department. So what they do over the weekend, they killed her and made it look like she did it herself. Also, you have a particular woman that was just Breonna Taylor, who was just recently murdered in her apartment by 2 Kentucky police. Her boyfriend shot one of the police officers in self-defense, and more than likely he will be found guilty of shooting a cop, even though it was self-defense. Why? Because the police get away with everything. They broke into her apartment, into her house. They broke into her house. It wasn't even the correct area. It was not even the right house number. They broke in with no knock search warrant, which meant they didn't have to knock to break the door down. They didn't have to address themselves to break the door down. They were just able to do that. And her boyfriend stood his ground and shot the police officer, not knowing it was a police officer, after his girlfriend had gotten killed. So the judge released him on his own recognizances. Well, actually, he was put in house arrest, sort of, until the trial comes back up. And the police union was totally angry with that. They weren't angry that the police officer killed Breonna Taylor. They weren't angry about that. They weren't angry over a police officer shooting a civilian. No, the police union was angry because the person that shot a cop in self-defense got away with it, basically, for now. But they will find him guilty because it is Kentucky. I pray that he gets away with what he did, because when do we as citizens get to fear for our lives? When do we get to fear for our lives? Why is it that the police always get to fear for their lives? Now, back to the police union and the police department. I think that instead of defunding, and dismantling the police, we need to change how we do things and tell the police department, look, I don't care how things operated in the past. That thin blue line, snip, 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 we're cutting it. That thin blue line, you can back up your fellow officer and still be honest and be standing in the citizen and in the community. You can still have a very good reputation and still back your partner and the other people in the police department without condoning bad crap that they get away with. I'm looking at you guys, the police department, I'm looking at you, yeah, you, right there, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you and giving you the big finger of shame. If you stand up for a cop that's guilty of doing something bad, you're just as guilty as he is for allowing it to happen or allowing it to keep happening. Don't be afraid of the police union. Get some nuts, grab some balls and stand up and say, look, no, we have more pride in ourselves. We have more self-respect than to allow you guys, the police union, to banter us around and to bully us. We ain't taking it no more. Yep, that's what I say. So how do you look at it? America, Seattle in particular. How are you guys seeing all of this? Do you think the police department needs to be disbanded and dismantled? And if so, how will you take care of the crime when it raises its ugly head? Put a comment down there below. Let me know what you think. You like it? Don't like it? Believe it's a good thing? Don't believe it's a good thing? How do you see it? Anyway, I'm going to let you go on that note. If you want to give me a big old thumbs up, that's fine. This video ran just a little bit longer than I was hoping it would, but hopefully you bear with me till the very end. And if you want, hit the subscribe button right down here. I'm going to leave you again on that note with this. Let us make Seattle and the rest of the world around us a better place tomorrow than it was yesterday by doing the very best we can today. Helping those we can, smiling when we need to, and also when we don't. Have a good afternoon, Seattle, America, and all points beyond.